while it's not gonna cripple the campaign, it is putting a thorn in our side.
I mean, are they actual death threats, or like, can you just give me a basic idea?
They're death threats.
And my name is Suri Crowe, and you're watching the MeidasTouch Network. I've been taking a deep look into political violence in America. Who's behind the majority of it? How does the data stack up? Trump and Republicans, of course, as a whole, blame the left. No shocker there. That's simply not what the evidence shows us. I just did a report where I go through all of the data. You can find it right here on the MeidasTouch Network. Now let's dive into what I found lately, right here in my own backyard in Virginia, where we have elections every year. Yeah, that's right. This year, our governor, our attorney general, our lieutenant governor, and our whole House of Delegates is up for election. And one of those seats, representing District 99, is held by MAGA Republican Ann Farrell Tata. And Democrat Kat Porterfield is challenging Tata for that seat. And according to Porterfield and her campaign manager, Melissa Luxon, things have gotten really ugly for her. And well, in their opinion, possibly dangerous. And it all started with this video from over 2 years ago when Kat Porterfield was approached by a Republican activist named Annie Palumbo. You will see her first in this clip. And then she questions Porterfield and her husband about Charlie Kirk.
I think somebody running for a campaign should have their feet held to the fire, and I think they should answer to the words that they have spoken. So like I said, that video went viral. She doesn't like it now. She's claiming her family's in distress right now. They're getting death threats for her words, not mine. But yet she's going to sue me. That's what she said. She's going to sue me. You know what, girl? God's got me. But watch the video. I don't know. Should I be sued for this? I don't think so. Do you have anything you want to say to Charlie Kirk?
You're a fraud. Charlie Kirk, you're a fraud.
Nice grift.
Nice grift. Okay, did you also call him a Nazi?
No, I just asked if you sympathize.
There are Nazi flags flying outside of his events, and that's somehow okay? That somehow makes people feel good right now?
Have you been to any of his events?
Why in the world would I go to a Charlie Kirk event?
But why do you know there's these flags?
Any building that had a Nazi flag flying out in front of it.
I've been to his building. I've never seen a Nazi flag.
Well, then maybe you should look at photos.
Or maybe you should open your eyes.
Okay, well, maybe you guys should. Okay, well, thanks for that. I'll make sure he gets this. And your name is Kat Porterfield.
My name is Kat Porterfield, and Charlie Kirk is a fraud.
Okay.
Now, keep in mind that that video was taken 2 years ago before Charlie Kirk's murder. But Annie Palumbo reposted it recently and it went viral. And as a result, Porterfield says her social media pages have been lighting up with threats.
Yeah, there are death threats. There's a lot of nasty stuff coming in by way of social media or messaging, even phone calls. That is so not related to this campaign or what's going on right now. It's a 2-year-old video, and it's being amplified, shared thousands of times by some local Republican activists and actually even a paid Republican consultant. I am no longer able to ride around in my vehicle that had my signs on it. I am kind of moving around, kind of serpentine as to where I'm staying, where I'm going to be. I'm not putting out a lot publicly about where I'm going to be popping up. So, while it's not gonna cripple the campaign, it is putting a thorn in our side.
I mean, are they actual death threats, or like, can you just give me a basic idea?
They're death threats. Like somebody needs to burn her house down, or don't worry, folks, I have her address, and then a bunch of fire emojis, or somebody needs to kill her kids so she can see how it feels. Somebody needs to go put a bullet in the back of her head. I mean, I don't know, because at this point we're talking thousands. It's exponential, right? It just keeps rolling and picking up more speed.
Here are some of the examples of the threats that Porterfield sent me. A guy by the name of David Myers says, fucking see you next Tuesday. Make sure this fucking see you next Tuesday doesn't serve one day in that goddamn position. She needs to be fucking shot. Someone called Henry Hansen says, get their name and address and phone number. We'll take care of this. Multiple fire emojis. Someone by the name of John Henry says, burn their house down. Someone who goes by Moody Harvey tells her to duck. Someone by the name of AJ Ep65 messaged her and says, we're coming for you. Nice of him. Olga Brew, 37 comments. Hope from my heart someone put a bullet in your brains. And then there was a meet and greet that Porterfield was co-hosting with a candidate for the Commonwealth's Attorney's Office a woman by the name of Suzanne Richmond. And a woman by the name of Rhonda Loy posts underneath that public invitation, "I'll be there." And according to Porterfield and her campaign manager, a woman, Melissa Luxon, Loy also asked if it would be televised, which both, Porterfield and Luxon thought was like strange. Like, why are you asking whether it's going to be televised or not? Like, what a weird comment. And then she also asked, "You pushing porn on kids too?" This is to Porterfield's on her pages. And then later there's this exchange between Melissa Luxon, that's Kat Porterfield's campaign manager, where Rhonda Loy posts this: "Let's find out who the children are of the Virginia Beach Democratic Committee members." So just remember that name for a moment, Rhonda Loy, because it's going to come back in my story in just a minute.
Have the authorities gotten involved?
We did contact the authorities, and the authorities say that it has to be a direct threat. It has to be, "I'm coming to put a bullet in your head," not "somebody needs to put a bullet in her head," or "I'm coming to burn your house down," not "somebody needs to burn your house down." But in the event that, like, say something horrible did happen, like a bullet was put in my head, then the police would be able to go after the people who are putting up the platforms for potentially inciting that kind of violence. But something has to happen to me or a member of my family first.
So then they could go after, like, for example, Facebook or
Yes.
something. But
Yes.
not until...
Yes, but these people have to make, and they probably know, right? The keyboard warriors, they know just exactly how to phrase something so they can still threaten the person, but keep themselves out of reach of law enforcement.
And so, like you said, your husband had a Jeep with like rolling billboard wraps, and you're not able to do that anymore.
No, we can't do that. And also, I mean, it affects the whole family.
Now, about 2 weeks after I sat down and interviewed Kat Porterfield, the No Kings protest happened, right? Nationwide. And Rhonda Loy, the woman who had posted several of those menacing comments I showed you earlier on Porterfield's pages, shows up at one of those No Kings protests in Kitty Hawk, North Carolina, where she apparently is a resident. And here's what happened.
People marched in some 2,500 separate No Kings protests across the nation on Saturday.
Several of those rallies happened here in Hampton Roads and on the Outer Banks with very few issues. But a woman faces a number of charges connected to an incident at the No Kings protest in Kitty Hawk, including assault and disorderly conduct. Tonight, your Seismic Broadway is following up on that tonight, Nick.
Aisha, Tom, leading up to this, it was a typical No Kings rally in Kitty Hawk. More than 1,000 people holding signs, American flags, some wearing costumes. Many drove by agreeing or disagreeing with their message. Rallygoers tell me one driver chose to escalate things.
Police are saying this is 58-year-old Rhonda Loy. She's seen in this video, which we obtained by way of Outer Banks insider and Donna Sills.
She angrily pulled up so quickly that my husband and I thought she was going to drive into the crowd. And so we backstepped. Then, surprisingly, she got out of the car and everyone just started saying, get back in the car, get back in the car. She came over and grabbed the wrist of this elderly man. She was yelling at him, "That's not your flag, that's our flag."
Loy is facing 3 charges for simple assault, attempted larceny, and disorderly conduct. She has since bonded out of jail.
I spoke to Porterfield afterwards about the incident. Like, wow, this is sort of crazy. We were talking about this woman posting on your social media pages, and then she goes out and does this wild shit. And Porterfield told me that she wondered what drove Loy to assault an elderly man, and that she feels even less safe now because in Porterfield's words, she, quote, takes her words and puts them into action. Like, she's not just, shit posting. She's actually putting her words into actions. And so, Porterfield told me that, yeah, of course I feel less safe because like this woman isn't just behind a keyboard now. She's sort of like out here acting out her worst impulses. And so, pretty wild plot twist there. I reached out to Ann Farrell Tata's campaign for comment. Like, what do you think of Republicans and MAGA people who are stoking violence on social media pages? And then it turns out this woman allegedly, has been charged by police. And I spoke to somebody at the campaign office who was like, what? Huh? And I said, I would like to hear back from your campaign. What does Ms. Tata, does she disavow this? Does she denounce it? And let them know. I let them know I was working on a story for MeidasTouch, etc. I never heard back from them. So they had their chance, but I did not hear back. So, interesting. And, Porterfield, who was telling me, I don't think this is an anomaly. I don't think this is just a one-off thing. Well, I think her theory sort of appears to be working out, because as I was putting this particular piece together, I learned of yet another story of alleged right-wing political violence in the 757 area code, which is sort of like the whole Hampton Roads area in Virginia, towards the coast area. According to Democrat Virgil Thornton's campaign for the delegate seat in District 86, which is over in Hampton, the Republican incumbent there for the House seat, a guy by the name of A.C. Cordoza, has been harassing Thornton's family members, his niece specifically, as well as his campaign supporters, with a gun. As a result, a judge had to issue an emergency protective order against the Republican delegate, against Mr. Cordoza. The Thornton campaign says it has warned all of its staffers and volunteers to steer clear of Delegate Cordoza for their own safety. The Thornton campaign also released a list of what it calls Cordoza's predatory behavior on its website. I have not had a chance to independently verify all of these, but according to the Thornton campaign, these are all public record. Everything from evading metal detectors at a school, to pulling a gun on a retired state trooper, to sexually harassing a teenager, to running a sexting ring against teens. Now, if all of those turn out to be true, and again, the Thornton campaign says these are public records, like police reports, etc., keep in mind this is a sitting member of Virginia's House of Delegates. This is a sitting lawmaker. He's been there a while. I don't even know what to say. Is this surprising? We have a sexual predator and a felon in the top office in the United States, but this is where we are, people. This is not just us. This is not just people on the left throwing out accusations. These are police reports, emergency protective orders from a judge, because a sitting member of the House of Delegates in Virginia is apparently waving around a gun at a candidate's niece and a volunteer on his campaign. Let me just tell you, I've been doing a lot of door knocking lately. It's hard enough to get people to go out there and fight for democracy. The last thing you need is somebody busting out a gun to intimidate volunteers. I'm just, whoa. So that's that situation over there. I will keep you all updated if I find out what else is happening there. But whoa, that's wild. So on balance, the MAGA Republicans have called text messages that Democrat Attorney General candidate for Virginia, Jay Jones, sent in 2022, disqualifying. All right. Jones, who was not in elected office at the time, made text remarks in what he thought was a private message to a Republican friend, wishing ill against the Republican House Speaker at the time, a man by the name of Todd Gilbert, suggesting he should, quote, get bullets to the head. It was the whole text chain. You can Google it. It's been a pretty big story here. Since then, Jones has apologized for the remarks publicly. He calls them a grave mistake. He issued what he calls his, quote, deepest apology to Speaker Gilbert and his family, adding that reading back those words made me sick to my stomach. I am embarrassed, ashamed, and sorry. All right. Republicans have repeatedly called for Jones to recuse himself from the AG race against MAGA Republican and incumbent Jason Miyares. And in fact, MAGA Republicans are now spending more money on the attorney general race to keep Miyares in than they are on the gubernatorial race. So that should tell you something right there. Here's the thing. What Jay Jones did was terrible. He has admitted it. He did not face any criminal charges or legal action for it because he didn't make a direct threat. These were stupid remarks he made in a private, or so he thought, message chain. That's why if you're ever considering running for office, be careful what you say, even in what, nothing's private really anymore. especially now with Palantir and the spyware that the Trump regime is rolling up. Nothing you say anywhere is private. So it was a huge mistake, and there is a chance that his bad judgment from years ago could cost Virginia the chance to have a really good attorney general. Because if we end up with MAGA Attorney General Meidas keeping him in office, we will have no protection against the atrocities of the Trump regime. Nobody to sue the regime for unlawful overreach as Trump sends more and more of his ICE goons into Virginia. I mean, they're already here, but we know he's going to send out his private army of ICE thugs. Nobody to protect women's rights. Virginia is the only state in the South that has any semblance of abortion healthcare left for women. Nobody to protect federal workers in Virginia. Virginia has the highest number of federal workers in the union, and we know that they've been losing their jobs, losing their paychecks. As I speak right now, there's going to be nobody in the AG's office looking out for Virginians at all, because Jason Meidas, I can tell you as a fact, is completely in bed with the fossil fuel industry, Dominion Energy. It's like a monopoly here. Our energy bills are like tripling. They're tripling right now as we head into winter. He is so cozied up with the Trump regime. It's not even funny. So the text messages, mistake. You can forgive Jay Jones, who has pleaded forgiveness and apologized, or we can end up another 4 years with a full-blown MAGA attorney general who will never challenge the Trump regime as long as he is holding, the highest legal office in Virginia. And when you look at the violence that is regularly thrown around in group chats by young Republicans who are not children, JD Vance, sorry to tell you, they're grown-ass men, or by the examples I've shown you here, or by the president who currently occupies the Oval Office, who says shit like this.
President, if you are declaring war against these cartels and Congress is likely to approve of that process, why not just ask for a declaration of war?
Well, I don't think we're going to necessarily ask for a declaration of war. I think we're just going to kill people that are bringing drugs into our country. Okay, we're going to kill them. They're going to be like dead. Okay.
He's just committing open war crimes. To me, the choices we have this election and every other for the foreseeable future, as long as we have them, are very clear. Just look at the mayhem, the chaos, and the pain that Republicans are inflicting on us. If you want more of that, then vote Republican. If you want at least a chance of us getting our freedoms back, then you must vote. First of all, you got to get your booty out there to vote, and you've got to vote blue. You must vote blue. And the sliver of good news is that most people in America do not want political violence on either side of the aisle. But we currently have a power-hungry regime in the White House and in Congress that is all about using violence or any means necessary to maintain their grip on power. So we cannot become numb to it. Empathy is a superpower. Please don't lose it. Let's not become numb to the atrocities that we're witnessing. This is a moment in history, and we all have to do everything we possibly can to fight for the right side of history. Okay. I will post both of these reports that I've done, part one and part 2 on my Substack. You can look for Suri Crowe Substack. I would love to have you come over. I have some really interesting conversations on my Substack channel, and I would love to have your support. So I will post them there together. Of course, you can find them here too, but I'll put a whole report together on my Substack. And, more than ever, Woosah. Peace.
Love this video? Support independent media and unlock exclusive content, ad-free videos, and custom emojis by becoming a paid member of our YouTube channel today. You can also gift memberships to others. Let's keep growing together.